Day 17 of your astrological Advent calendar. Today we're talking about Neptune. Neptune at the 29th degrees. Yes, we've already established that it stationed direct on December 10th, but I didn't really get too far into how amazing this timeline is, because when I was doing the video for you, I was looking at these two cycles, which I find on AstroSeek. So if you ever wonder how to do that, if you want to know, I can give you a little tutorial so you can know when these cycles are. That is a huge deal. Neptune has a 164-year cycle, and we are at the end degrees. We are at the end of a 164-year story. It started in 1861 for this particular story of Neptune, and just think about how different things are, how incredibly different, and what's happened in these past 165 years. I mean, electricity was a big one, and then the internet and everything that's happened ever since then. It's completely shifted. The technology has shifted. Cars, airplanes, all these things that did not exist for an entire human experience until the last 165 years. So we've been living on a really strange version of the Neptune cycle. And we're going into a new one. And how amazing that we are here in this period right now on this liminal space in the next month and a half. Today I'm going to read to you from this book. I usually go to the Sabian symbol, and the Sabian symbol for the 30th degree is actually really fascinating as well. It's a stone face. A stone face, a boy or a man, a boy, I think it is, sees a stone face and makes that into his ideal, and then he becomes like that stone face. So it's indicating that having something that's bigger than us as a guide, as a way, a pathway towards an evolution of self. So today, instead of going deeper into the Sabian symbol, we're going to look at the 360 degrees of your star destiny, a zodiac oracle by Elias Lonsdale. Elias Lonsdale is a really interesting fellow. If you've been with me for a while, you might remember I did an interview with Mark Borax, which was his apprentice. And Mark Borax's book was called 2012, which I always thought was a funny title, but it was an astrology book, and it didn't have too much to do with 2012, but some incredible stuff in that book. And he was taking down the notes from Elias Lonsdale. Elias Lonsdale was married to a lady named Sarah. That was his wife. And unfortunately, she passed away. But when she did, he became even closer to her. So they became partners on a different dimension. And this entire book was pretty much his channeling her, Sarah, and Theana, I think is her name that she went into in the Haven. Glasses. Pisces 30. A large halo in ring formation around the moon. Signs in the heavens, earth rumbling below, a new earth coming alive, the old earth cast off like a corpse, portents, prophecies, a new world to find, so much to let go of, so many memories that bind. There is a pageantry, a greater symbolism, an intonation of divinity in the aura and ethers of earth. This interior resonance is so vast that it dwarfs a human life. How can we rise to meet the dimensions the cosmos invokes here? We get there by small measures. We sink down into the most inescapable depth spaces we can possibly navigate. We get lost in the depths. We plod onward on the surface, and then something gives away. For we are called here to become one with Earth's free becoming. We are meant to merge within the central pulse of what is moving here. Our little self is as lost as can be in these depths. Our greater self is quickened to at last find her stride all around the life current. If we lose our way along the trajectory, we fall hard and fast. Soon we discover that we are dreaming. We are living on the inner planes. We have never been here before in this world, going through these kinds of changes. We develop compassion for the one in us who feels so alien, so entirely other. It just may turn out that her story is true. Many ways to get lost, many windings to return to the spiral, poignant depth of loss, collective and personal, magnificent heights of recovery to bring a new energy to bear. We need inspiration. We must be at the center. All is written there. Inevitability is just obvious. The only thing we can do is to merge with this destiny that stretches beyond us. That's pretty good. Story time for today. I'll just quickly give you one I was thinking about. It's a Wonderful Life. George Bailey is the character played by Jimmy Stewart, and there's a scene where he's sitting in the bar and he's praying. He's praying to God.
Dear Father in heaven, I'm not a praying man, but if you're up there and you can hear me, show me the way. I'm at the end of my rope, right? Show me the way.
And then he gets punched in the face.
Bailey? Which Bailey?
This Mr. George Bailey.
Those signs sometimes aren't very, very kind. Then he just kind of loses it and just thinks that his life is worthless, and he just kind of wishes that he wasn't even alive anymore. And he's getting ready to end it. And that's when Clarence shows up. Clarence is a very Neptunian character. He's an angel. And he gives George Bailey some perspective and shows him what life would be like if he hadn't existed, if he wasn't there. And what George Bailey sees is, darkness and so many things that he had sacrificed for his own joy and pleasure. He sacrificed to help other people consistently, but it led him to a place where he couldn't see all the good things that he was doing. He didn't have the perspective. He felt lost, kind of what this guy Elias Lonsdale said. He just felt lost and worthless. And then when you gain perspective on his entire cycle, he saw how beautiful his life was, how wonderful his life was. A simple life, I don't know why I get emotional so easily on these things, but it feels authentic. It feels real. And it was super interesting. I found a video I was watching of Jimmy Stewart in an interview, and he was older. He had white hair, and I think it was the 70s. And he was talking about how this was his favorite film and how nobody liked it.
It's a Wonderful Life didn't do very well.
I didn't realize, in fact, that it wasn't a commercial success, because it's a nice little movie, isn't it?
For the audience at that time, they were just coming out of World War II, and I don't know, maybe it was just too much. And it wasn't until later that this movie became a classic, and people saw how significant this message was.
You said, Jimmy, that was your favorite movie of all. Of all the movies you made, that's still remember. Yeah. Why is that?
When I first read the first draft of the script, and that scene, the little prayer, affected me. And when I read it first, when I did it in the movie, it did, and it did the same to me right now. And
we all feel that sometimes, don't we? Like, you just feel like, is it worth it? What am I doing? Is it worth it, what I'm doing, right? I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty universal thought that people have. So that's why it's relatable. And the answer is always going to be yes. You're here. You're supposed to be here. We're supposed to be here at this big shift, this huge moment for humanity. So we're chosen to be here. Crystal Advent Calendar today. Let's see what day 17 has for us. Oh, this one's pretty. They're all pretty, but oh yeah, look at that. This one is Amazonite. Truth, calm communication, helps express thoughts clearly and kindly. Clearly and kindly. The kindness, that came up the other day when I was at the retirement home. We were playing music there, and a lady I was talking to, elderly lady, that's what came up. This concept of kindness. We were talking about animals, and we were talking about how kindness is really the most important thing. The wisdom that you get from elders is so precious, and they aren't valued as they should be. So this makes me think about her and her message of kindness and her connection that she had to animals, which was so absolutely sweet. Anyway, this is beautiful. I like you just the way you are. Thank you for being here with me on day 17. Can't wait to see what day 18 brings us. It's always something new in the Advent calendar. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.